Before we ask the mind to perform, we invite the heart to awaken, slowly, gently, and with a quiet reverence. Think of this as opening a window on a still morning. You do not force the air to move. You simply create the conditions for the light to enter. This begins with a chosen moment of quiet. It could be the first 5 minutes after you wake, the pause before you begin your work, or even a deliberate breath in the middle of a busy day when you feel the pull of noise. The goal is not to find perfect silence, for that is rare. The goal is to choose one small pocket of calm on purpose. Let us begin with posture, because the body often sets the pace before the mind can catch up. If you are sitting, allow both feet to rest on the floor. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears and soften the small muscles around your eyes. If you are lying down, that is fine as well. Simply be aware of the line between rest and sleep. A simple check-in. Feel your points of contact. Where does your body meet the chair, the bed, the ground? This simple sensation anchors you in the present. Next, we turn to the breath, not to control it, but to notice it. Follow the natural rhythm of your inhalation and your exhalation. Observe where you feel it most, perhaps the rise and fall of your chest, the gentle expansion of your belly, or the cool air moving through your nostrils. As you breathe in, you might silently think, here, and as you breathe out, now. This is not a command, but a gentle reminder. When the mind wanders, as it will, simply return to the next breath without judgment. And now, the heart. On your next exhale, you can place a hand over your chest, or simply bring your awareness to the space where your heart rests. Bring to mind a phrase that feels both true and kind. Something like, I am safe enough to soften, or may I meet this moment with care. You are not trying to force an emotion. You are signaling to your entire being that tenderness is available, that it is welcome here. To make this practical, try a 2-minute heart check-in. Ask yourself 3 questions, one at a time, allowing a moment for each to land. First, what am I carrying right now? Second, what do I need in order to feel a little more at ease? And third, what is one small kindness I can offer myself today? Perhaps you realize you are carrying tension in your jaw. Your need might be as simple as the word slow, and your kindness could be to take 3 deliberate, unhurried breaths before replying to your next message. Notice how small this can be. The heart responds to quiet specifics. For a deeper sense of grounding, you can use the 5 senses sweep. Spend about 10 seconds on each sense, simply noticing, not analyzing. What do you see? Even a single color or the shape of light is enough. What do you hear? Allow distant sounds to be part of your landscape. What do you smell, if anything? What do you feel physically? The temperature of the air, the texture of fabric against your skin. And what do you taste? Or the memory of a taste, like the lingering warmth of coffee? This is not an exercise in analysis. It is an act of widening your attention, so the present moment feels less narrow, more spacious. To make this quiet start even more powerful, set your environment. Reduce friction by creating a space that signals calm. Once this quiet space is claimed, we can turn our attention to protecting it. Consider your attention as a spotlight. When it is trained on one thing, you see details with remarkable clarity. But when distractions constantly flicker the spotlight around, new notifications, open tabs, background noise, your brain is forced to reorient again and again. This reorienting is not free. Cognitive science shows that every time we switch tasks, there is a measurable cost in performance and energy. Our focus is not multiplied, It is merely spread thin. So, we practice surrendering distractions with intention, like gently closing a door on interruptions. This is how we claim a focus that feels steady, not frantic. The first step is to name your distraction patterns. Most fall into a few familiar categories: digital interruptions from our devices, context switching from too many open windows, environmental noise from the world around us, and the most subtle of all, internal distractions. The worries, the boredom, the endless list of just one more thing. Imagine sitting down to write. Within 2 minutes, you check a notification just to be safe. That single action costs more than a few seconds. It pulls you into an entirely different mental context. By the time you return to your work, you are not only slower, but you are more likely to feel a sense of frustration. So begin by identifying your top 2 distraction types. Then, you can tailor the solution instead of guessing. The second step is to remove the permission for distractions to enter. They win because they are too accessible. We must make them harder to reach. Turn off all non-essential notifications. This is not about being rigid. It is about reducing the cues that vie for your attention. Use your device's focus or do not disturb mode. Even a temporary barrier limits the flow of interruptions. Create friction for tempting websites. Log out or use a blocker during your window of deep work. And close extra tabs and applications. Keep only what you need for the current task visible. If it is open, it is available, and your brain treats all available information as a potential claim on its focus. This leads to the third step: reducing cognitive load with a single task setup. Clear focus is not just a matter of willpower, it is a matter of design. When your workspace is cluttered, your mind must filter more than it should. Clear your desk of unrelated items. Keep only one document open. Place your tools within reach, and keep a notepad beside you for any stray thoughts that arise, so you can capture them and release them, knowing you can return to them later. But a clear space is only the beginning. To inhabit it consistently requires discipline. And discipline, before it is an action, is a form of language. The sentences you use internally and the commitments you make out loud shape what you believe you are capable of. Instead of saying, "I need to be more disciplined," try asking for discipline in a clearer, more behavioral way. For example, for the next 20 minutes, I will focus on this lesson, even if I do not feel motivated. That is a request with an observable action attached. You can also change the tone of your self-talk. If you catch yourself thinking, "I can't," replace it with, "I am choosing to start." Psychologically, this shift is monumental. Can't shuts down problem-solving. Choosing signals agency. Another powerful approach is to make a verbal agreement with yourself and then treat it as an instruction, not a suggestion. Try saying, "I do not negotiate with this plan after I have started." Or find a simple mantra to repeat at the moment of resistance like, "Start messy. Improve later." This reduces the pressure for perfection that so often leads to inaction. Words create direction, but habits create consistency. A habit is an automated pattern triggered by a cue. This means you do not have to ask for discipline from scratch every single day. You design your environment so that discipline happens more automatically. A useful method is to build a minimum viable habit. If your goal is to study, do not set the bar at 2 hours. Start with, open the notebook and write for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is so small that resistance loses its power. And once you begin, momentum often carries you further. You can also link habits together using if-then statements. If it is 7 in the evening, then I will study for 30 minutes. Or, if I finish my breakfast, then I will immediately review my notes. This turns an intention into a rule, and rules reduce decision fatigue. Your brain spends less energy deciding what to do next. Discipline is also easier when the task is easier to start and harder to avoid. If you want to practice a language, keep your materials visible and ready. If you want less distraction, add friction to the temptations. You are not relying on sheer strength. You are changing the setup. And finally, discipline is often just time management you can trust. Ask for discipline by asking for specific windows of time, not vague goals. I will be productive today is a wish. I will focus on this one task for 25 minutes is a plan. Discipline, then, is not merely about productivity. It is about the quality of our effort, which leads us to the heart of good work: integrity. Integrity is the quiet, steady choice to do what is right when no one is watching, when it is inconvenient, or when there is pressure to cut corners. It is the foundation of work that lasts. Good work begins with doing the job the right way, not the fastest way. This means accuracy, honesty, and a profound respect for the people who will be affected by what you create. In a world where reputations can be damaged in an afternoon, integrity becomes a form of professional armor. It protects both you and those who rely on your work. Consider this. You are writing a report, and you discover a mistake, a number copied from the wrong source. A shortcut is offered. Just fix it later, no one will notice. Integrity asks you to pause, verify the source, correct the error, and own the correction, even if it affects the timeline. This requires courage, because it may mean admitting a mistake, but it also prevents a greater harm later: poor decisions based on faulty data, and an erosion of trust. Integrity also reveals itself when your work could benefit you if you were to bend the truth. Perhaps you see a flaw in a colleague's proposal, but they recently helped you. Courage is naming the issue anyway, with professionalism and care. Not by attacking the person, but by addressing the impact. Here is what I found. Here is why it matters, and here is a safer alternative. This structure keeps the focus on quality and safety. Integrity is visible in our behaviors. It is transparency. When you do not know something, you say so, and commit to finding the answer. This builds credibility. It is accountability. When a deadline slips, you do not hide the problem. You explain why, what you have done to respond, and what you will do next. And it is a respect for process and standards. Following ethical guidelines, quality checks, and safety protocols, even when there is no immediate reward. And the courage part? Courage is the emotional fuel that helps you act even when you feel at risk. You might fear being unpopular or being seen as difficult. This is the moment to remember that your integrity is your anchor. And because our work is almost never done in isolation, this call for integrity extends into our relationships, where the true practice of peace begins. Peace is not merely the absence of conflict. It is a settled state of mind and heart that can endure even when life is loud. Let us start with our relationships. Think about how often conflict begins long before any words are spoken. It can start with a tightness in the chest when you see a message that feels dismissive, or the quiet assumption that they don't care based on a single short response. So much of our tension comes from interpretation, from guessing motives and reacting from a place of stress. Prayer for peace interrupts this cycle. When you pray for peace, you are not pretending everything is fine. You are asking for a different way to respond. You might pray, slow my heart. Give me wisdom and a calm spirit. Help me to speak truth with gentleness. Gentleness is not weakness. It is emotional regulation with intention. Prayer helps you pause, and in that pause, there is space for a healthier choice. Imagine a disagreement about finances. A concern is raised, you feel criticized, and your first instinct is to defend yourself. In that moment, a quiet prayer can act as an internal seatbelt. You might say, "Lord, help me to see clearly. Do not let fear drive me. Give me the right words." And then, this is key. Follow it with a small, concrete action. Try asking a question instead of making a point. For example, "Can you help me understand what worries you most?" Peace often grows from curiosity. Now let us move inward, because inner stillness is part of the same practice. Inner stillness is not the absence of thoughts. It is the presence of attention. It is choosing to return to a place of calm, even when your mind is sprinting. Many describe anxiety as a state where their thoughts will not stop. Prayer gives those thoughts a direction. Instead of wrestling with every thought alone, you bring them to a place of sanctuary. From this place of inner stillness, we can seal our morning's intention with gratitude, and with a promise we can actually keep. Think of this as setting the tone for the rest of your day, not by forcing positivity, but by anchoring your attention where it can be nourished. Gratitude trains the brain to notice what is already working. When you repeatedly bring your attention to what is good, you are teaching your mind a pattern of recognition. Take 60 seconds and name 3 specific things for which you feel grateful. Not, "I am grateful for my life," but something more tangible. "I am grateful my body carried me through yesterday." "I am grateful for clean water and a warm place to stand." "I am grateful for one person with whom it feels safe to talk." To make it even more vivid, add a single sentence for each, explaining what it means to you. "I am grateful my body carried me through yesterday, because it means I am capable of handling this day too." This tiny shift turns gratitude into meaning. Next, include one gratitude that is not comfortable, but is honest. Some mornings are difficult. You can still find something real. "I am grateful I noticed my stress instead of ignoring it." Or, "I am grateful I have a choice even if it is a small one." This kind of gratitude does not deny difficulty. It helps you meet it with steadier eyes. Gratitude is the emotional foundation. Now we add the promise, which is your anchor for action. A promise built in layers, small enough to do today, clear enough to guide you this morning, and meaningful enough to reflect who you want to become. You are not promising perfection. You are promising one doable step. Choose just one morning promise, expressed as a specific behavior. If you want peace, today I will take one mindful breath before I respond to messages. If you want discipline, today I will start my first task within 5 minutes, even if I do not feel ready. If you want health, today I will drink a full glass of water before any coffee. If you want kindness, today I will speak to one person with patience, slower, not sharper. If you want courage, today I will send the email I have been avoiding, even if I keep it brief. Each of these is concrete, timed, and realistic. This is the work, and it begins simply now.